Ethan Cole had always been drawn to the unknown. Even as a boy growing up in the quiet towns of Nebraska, he would spend hours staring at the night sky, imagining what might exist beyond the stars. Now on Kiros 7, a planet nobody had fully mapped, he felt that same mixture of fear and excitement. His boots crunched against the red dirt of the canyon floor as he moved carefully, scanning the rock formations with his handheld scanner. The landscape was harsh and unfamiliar, filled with jagged cliffs and deep crevices. The sky was a pale violet, lit by a sun that seemed weaker than Earth's. A fine wind carried dust that scratched against his helmet, making him pull it tighter. He had been part of a small exploration team, sent to survey this part of the planet for potential colonization, but the terrain had been trickier than expected. Just an hour ago he had been walking with his team when the ground shook violently. Rocks tumbled from the cliffs above and a crack had opened in the canyon floor, swallowing a part of their path. He had fallen into the debris, separated from the others. Now, alone, he pressed on, hoping to find shelter before the strange cold of the Kiros night settled in. Ahead, he saw the opening of a cave. Its entrance was dark and wide, carved naturally into the cliffside. Ethan felt a strange pull toward it, as if the cave had been waiting for him. He hesitated at the edge for a moment, his hand hovering over his torch. The scanner beeped softly, warning him that his suit's energy reserves were running low, and the comlink crackled weakly before going silent. The tremor must have damaged it. No messages could get through. He felt a twist of panic but forced himself to breathe slowly. He stepped inside. The cave was larger than it looked from outside. Its walls were smooth in some areas and jagged in others, with streaks of strange minerals reflecting the dim light of his torch. The air was dry but breathable, though it carried a metallic smell that made him wrinkle his nose. He adjusted his pack, which contained food, water, and a small portable scanner. He needed to make a plan. The sun would set soon, and Kiros 7's nights were dangerously cold. As he walked further into the cave, he began to notice something strange. The walls were not entirely natural. In certain places, there were straight lines etched into the rock, almost like marks left by tools. The patterns were faint, covered in dust and debris, but they were there. He crouched down, brushing away the dirt with gloved hands. The lines seemed deliberate, not random. A shiver ran down his spine. Something had been here before him. He stood up and moved deeper, letting the torch's blue light sweep across the walls. The cave narrowed and then widened again, forming a large chamber. The floor was uneven, but in the center, he noticed what looked like the remains of old machinery. Broken panels, cables, and pieces of metal scattered across the ground. Ethan's curiosity overcame his fear. He stepped closer, kneeling to examine the debris. He picked up a small panel, brushing away the dust. Symbols were etched into it, symbols that looked vaguely like letters but didn't match anything he had ever seen. As he studied the panel, he felt a presence. It was subtle at first, almost like the hairs on his neck standing up. He looked around, but the chamber appeared empty. Then, from the far corner of the cave, he heard a soft sound, a voice. It was so quiet that he thought he might be imagining it. "Don't be scared," the voice said. It was soft and calm, almost musical, but clearly human. "I've been waiting." Ethan froze. His heart pounded in his chest. He looked around, shining his torch toward the sound, but the shadows only moved with him.
"Hello?"
he called, his voice echoing strangely in the large chamber. "Is someone there?" The voice responded immediately, calm and patient. "Yes, don't worry. I've been waiting a long time." Ethan swallowed hard. He had been trained for isolation on dangerous planets, but this was different. This was not a storm, a predator, or a malfunction. This was something else. Something intelligent, aware. He took a careful step forward, trying to appear calm, though his hands shook slightly. Who are you?" he asked. There was a pause. Then a faint glow appeared in the corner of the chamber. It was small at first, no bigger than his fist, but it grew steadily brighter, forming the shape of a figure. It looked humanoid, but not quite human. Light shimmered along its body, flickering like static. Its face was smooth, with faint lines that suggested eyes, a nose, and a mouth, but everything was slightly blurred, like a reflection on water. "I am Lyra," the figure said. Her voice carried warmth and familiarity, though Ethan had never met her. "I am here to guide you. You are the first human to return." Ethan stepped back, startled. "Return? I don't understand. No humans have ever been here before." Lyra tilted her head slightly, as if curious. You do not remember. That is understandable. You were not meant to remember yet. But your presence has reawakened me. He took another step forward, raising his torch to see her better. The light danced across the walls, reflecting strange patterns he hadn't noticed before. Reawakened? You mean this cave, this place, is alive? Lyra's glow shimmered as she spoke. Alive in the sense of memory. I am the keeper of what was once here. I have waited for someone like you. Someone human. Ethan blinked, trying to process her words. Everything in his training screamed that he should be afraid, that he should run back to the canyon and call for help. But something in Lyra's presence was strangely calming. Her voice was steady, and though her form was alien, it felt familiar in a way he could not explain. Why me? He asked quietly. Why now? You carry the signal, Lyra said simply. It is in your voice, your presence, your mind. You have brought it back. And because of that, I can finally speak to someone who can act. Ethan swallowed again. His mind raced. A signal? He had no idea what she meant. He had never felt special, never considered himself important beyond his skills as a geologist. Yet standing in that cave, looking at this glowing figure, he felt a weight he could not ignore. Act? He asked, and what do you want me to do? Lyra's form flickered, moving closer. Her light brushed against the edges of the chamber, illuminating the carvings in the walls. First, you must understand. This place was built long before humans settled the stars, long before your memory of history began. My purpose is to guard it, to wait for the one who can awaken what was lost. That one is you. Ethan shook his head, trying to make sense of her words. He felt dizzy. Lost what? Everything you think you know about humanity's beginning is incomplete, Lyra said. Her voice carried a sadness that made his chest tighten. There were humans here before. They came to the stars and explored. Long before the records, you know. They built, they learned, they expanded. Then something happened, and it was all forgotten. I was left to wait, to watch until someone returned. He sank to the ground, exhausted and overwhelmed. He had expected danger, perhaps alien life, but not this. Not a being who seemed to know him in ways he did not understand. Why now? He whispered. Why me? Lyra moved closer, her glow bathing him in soft light. Because the time has come. The cave has chosen you. You carry what is needed to awaken the memory of humanity, to bring back what was lost. You do not yet have the knowledge, but you have the courage. That is why I waited. Ethan's mind raced. He had been alone in the universe, far from home, when a tremor separated him from his team. Now he was in a cave on an alien world, speaking to a glowing being that claimed he was the key to humanity's lost past. Every instinct told him to run, but another, deeper part of him, the part that had always sought adventure, truth, and discovery, urged him to stay. Show me, he said finally. His voice was small but firm. Show me what you mean. I need to understand, Lyra nodded slowly. Then you must follow me deeper. But be warned, what you will see is not simple. It may challenge everything you believe. You must be ready. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. He rose to his feet, gripping his torch tightly. The cave stretched into darkness ahead, the walls alive with shadows and flickers of light. With one last glance back at the entrance, he stepped forward, following Lyra's glow into the unknown. The air grew colder as they moved deeper, and the silence of the cave was broken only by the soft echo of their steps. The walls began to shimmer with faint lines, almost like veins of light running through the stone. Ethan reached out to touch one, and it pulsed under his fingers. A jolt of warmth ran up his arm, and he stumbled back, blinking in surprise. You are sensitive to it, Lyra said softly. It reacts to your presence. That is why you were chosen. Few humans can awaken what sleeps here. Ethan nodded, still trying to steady himself. He felt a mixture of fear, awe, and excitement. He had no idea what lay ahead, but he knew one thing. He was no longer alone in the universe. Something had been waiting for him, something that had been waiting for a very long time, and now, the adventure of a lifetime was just beginning. As they moved further into the cave, Ethan caught a glimpse of the chamber ahead. It was vast, larger than any natural formation he had ever seen. Columns of stone rose like towers, and in the center, a faint glow emanated from a structure half buried in the rock. His heart raced. Whatever this was, it was ancient, powerful, and beyond anything he had imagined. Lyra's voice echoed softly behind him. This is only the beginning. Soon you will understand why you were chosen. Ethan's feet crunched softly on the uneven stone floor as he followed Lyra deeper into the cave. The glow from her form lit their path, but shadows still clung to the edges of the chamber. Ethan's heart thumped, a mixture of fear and wonder swirling inside him. Every step he took felt like leaving the world he knew behind, stepping into something ancient and alive. The walls were covered in more strange lines and symbols. They curved and twisted, forming patterns that seemed almost like writing, but no language Ethan had studied matched them. He reached out to touch one of the carvings. The stone was warm under his fingers, vibrating faintly. A shiver ran down his spine, and he pulled back quickly. Lyra floated closer. "Do not be afraid," she said. "These walls remember. They have seen all who came before. They will show you what they remember, but only if you are patient." Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. He had always believed that humans were explorers by nature, but never like this. Never in a place where history itself felt alive. "Who built this?" he asked. "Who were the humans you spoke of?" Lyra paused, as if choosing her words carefully. "Long ago, humans traveled across the stars. They came here to Kiro 7 to learn and to build. They were curious like you, but also bold. They left behind pieces of themselves in every place they touched. This cave is one of their outposts. I was made to guard it." Ethan tried to imagine it. Humans exploring the stars thousands of years ago, leaving behind technology and structures far older than anyone could imagine. It did not fit with what he had been taught about history. But looking at Lyra, he realized she was not lying, or even exaggerating. There was truth in her calm, glowing presence. "Why did they disappear?" he asked quietly. "Why is there no record of them?" Lyra's glow flickered, dimming slightly. "Something happened," she said. "Something that forced humanity to retreat. Knowledge was lost, memory erased. I do not know all the details. But what I do know is that your presence awakens the possibility of remembering." Ethan's mind raced. Could this be real? Could humanity really have existed in the stars long before history books recorded it? And if so, what did that mean for the future? His pulse quickened as he thought about the possibilities. Lyra began to float forward, guiding him toward a narrow passage at the far end of the chamber. The walls here were smoother, with cables running along the sides, half buried in dust. Ethan followed, stepping carefully over broken panels and pieces of metal. His torch cast long shadows that danced across the walls, making the passage seem alive. "Be careful," Lyra said. "The cave reacts to your presence. It is not harmful, but it can be overwhelming." As they walked, Ethan noticed faint lights pulsing along the walls. They blinked rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. He reached out to touch one. The light flared under his fingers, and suddenly he felt a rush of images, flashes of people, ships, and cities. He stumbled backward, gasping. Lyra floated close. "It is the memory of this place," she explained. "It shows you what it has seen. Only those who are ready can feel it fully. You have begun to sense it, but you must be patient. There is more to see." Ethan nodded, trying to steady his breathing. The images were confusing, overwhelming, but they also filled him with awe. He had seen ruins before, old buildings and broken machines, but nothing like this. This cave was alive with history, and he was standing in the middle of it. They entered a larger chamber. The ceiling stretched high above, disappearing into darkness. In the center, a circular platform glowed faintly, covered with symbols that pulsed in time with the lights along the walls. Ethan approached it cautiously. "What is this?" he asked. "This is a memory core," Lyra said. "It stores what the humans left behind, their knowledge, their discoveries, their stories. It has been dormant for thousands of years, waiting for someone like you to awaken it." Ethan knelt by the platform, brushing away the dust. The symbols shimmered under his touch. Suddenly, the core responded to him. Lines of light raced across the surface, forming patterns he could not understand. Then, the light spread upward, projecting images into the air. Ethan stepped back, staring in disbelief. He saw cities of glass and metal stretching high into the sky. Ships floated silently above them, moving like living creatures. People walked through streets filled with strange vehicles and machines, working together in harmony. He recognized their faces as human, yet there was something different about them, something older, wiser, and stronger. This is amazing," Ethan whispered. "It's humanity, but different. How is this possible?" Lyra's glow pulsed softly. "It is the past. It is what humans were capable of before memory was lost. You are seeing the truth that was hidden for generations. You are seeing what was meant to be remembered." Ethan's hands shook as he reached out, trying to touch the images. They flickered and shifted under his fingers, almost like water. "And I can bring it back?" he asked. Yes, Lyra said. Your presence awakens the memory. You are the key. But it is only the beginning. You must learn, understand, and act. Otherwise, this knowledge will remain hidden forever. Ethan nodded slowly. The weight of her words sank in. He had always thought of himself as just a geologist, a small part of a team. Now he realized that he was something more. He had been chosen, whether he understood it or not. He looked around the chamber. The walls were covered with more symbols and lights, each one pulsing faintly. He reached out to touch one, and another rush of images came. This time, he saw humans traveling across the stars, landing on strange planets, building settlements, and exploring unknown worlds. Some humans worked alongside alien species, learning from them and teaching them in return. It's incredible, he said. Humans, we were never just on Earth, we were everywhere, Lyra nodded. Yes, and now it is time to remember. It is time to awaken the systems that were left behind. They will guide humanity back to the stars. Ethan's mind was spinning. He had so many questions, but he knew he had to stay focused. He had to understand Lyra, the cave, and the memory core. What do I need to do first? He asked. First, you must learn to communicate with the core, Lyra said. It responds to thought, to intention, to understanding. You must open your mind and be patient. Do not rush. The knowledge is vast and it can be overwhelming. Ethan took a deep breath and sat down cross-legged on the stone floor. He closed his eyes and focused on the core, trying to calm his racing thoughts. Slowly, he felt a connection forming. The lights pulsed in response and the images returned. This time, they were clearer. He saw maps of star systems, diagrams of ships, and plans for cities on distant worlds. Lyra watched silently, her glow steady and reassuring. You are learning quickly, she said. Most humans would be frightened by what they see. You are ready to begin understanding? Ethan nodded. He felt a strange sense of calm. The fear that had gripped him when he first entered the cave was still there, but it was mingled with wonder and determination. He had always wanted to explore, to discover, and now he was standing at the center of a story far greater than anything he had imagined. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time seemed different in the cave. Ethan barely noticed the passage of time as he focused on the core, absorbing the images and the knowledge it offered. He saw humans building ships that could travel faster than light, learning the languages of alien species, and forming alliances that stretched across galaxies. And then he saw something darker. Conflicts, battles, and destruction. Some humans had grown ambitious, seeking power and control. Others had fought back, defending knowledge and freedom. The memory core showed it all, unfiltered, unjudged. Ethan's stomach tightened as he realized the fragility of what had been lost. Why did it end? He asked quietly. Why did humanity disappear from the stars? Lyra's glow dimmed slightly. I do not know the full story, but I know this. The memory was preserved here, waiting for someone to awaken it. You are that person. You must be careful. Knowledge is power, and power can be dangerous. Ethan nodded, understanding the gravity of his role. He was no longer just a geologist or an explorer. He was the key to a legacy that had been lost for thousands of years. The future of humanity, or at least its memory, rested in his hands. He stood and looked around the chamber again. The lights pulsed rhythmically, and the symbols on the walls seemed to shift slightly, responding to his presence. The cave was alive, and it was waiting for him to take the next step. Lyra floated closer. You have learned much already, she said. But this is only the beginning. There is more to see, more to understand, and more to awaken. You must be ready for what comes next. Ethan took a deep breath. I'm ready, he said. Show me. Lyra's glow brightened, and she began to move toward a deeper passage in the cave. Ethan followed, his heart pounding with anticipation and fear. He knew that whatever lay ahead, it would change everything. The cave had revealed part of its secret, but there was still much to uncover. As they moved forward, Ethan felt a strange sense of purpose. He had been chosen, awakened and guided by a being who had waited for him for thousands of years. The adventure that had begun with a simple tremor in a canyon was now a journey into the very memory of humanity itself. And for the first time, Ethan understood that he was not just exploring a cave or a planet. He was exploring the past, the future, and the very heart of what it meant to be human. Ethan followed Lyra through the deeper passage, his footsteps echoing softly against the stone walls. The air was cooler here, carrying a faint hum that seemed to vibrate in his chest. The walls glimmered faintly, showing patterns that moved as if alive. Each step forward made him feel smaller and larger at the same time. Small because of the vastness of this hidden world. Large because he was the one who had awakened it. The passage opened into another chamber even larger than the last. The floor sloped gently downward toward a circular platform at the center. It was covered with symbols that pulsed softly in shades of blue and green. Around the platform, pillars of stone rose like towers, each etched with strange lines. Between them, faint lights hovered in the air, spinning slowly, casting a quiet glow. "This is the core chamber," Lyra said, her voice calm. "Here is where the memory of the past waits to speak to you. But it will not be easy. It will test your mind, your courage, and your understanding." Ethan stepped closer to the platform. He could feel energy vibrating beneath his feet. The symbols responded to his presence, brightening as if greeting him. His hand hovered above the surface, trembling slightly. "What do I need to do?" he asked. "Focus," Lyra said. "The memory responds to thought. It can see your intentions, your curiosity, your courage. Do not be afraid. Open your mind and it will show you what you are ready to see." Ethan closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He thought of his home on Earth, of the people he loved, and of the endless sky above. Slowly, he reached out with his mind, letting his curiosity flow. The platform pulsed under his hands, sending a warmth through his arms. A soft hum began to fill the chamber, growing louder with each heartbeat. Suddenly, images flashed in front of his eyes. He saw humans in strange cities, their buildings tall and shining, floating above the ground. Ships glided silently through the sky, carrying people and cargo to distant worlds. The humans worked alongside beings he could barely recognize, aliens with shapes and colors that defied description. They spoke to each other, laughed, and built together. Ethan gasped. He had always imagined humans in space, but this was beyond anything he had dreamed. These humans were not the people of his time. They were older, stronger, and smarter. They were explorers, builders, and learners. And then the images shifted. He saw humans fighting. Battles raged on distant worlds. Ships exploded in flashes of fire, and cities crumbled under strange weapons. Some humans sought power, conquering and destroying, while others fought to protect knowledge, life, and freedom. The memory core showed it all without judgment. Ethan's chest tightened as he realized how fragile the civilizations had been. Lyra floated beside him. "This is why humanity disappeared," she said softly. "Knowledge was lost, memory erased. But the memory remained here, waiting for someone like you to awaken it." Ethan's eyes widened. "You mean it was all lost because of war?" "Partly," Lyra said, "and partly because of fear. Humans feared what they could not control. They feared knowledge, power, and the unknown. But now it is your turn to awaken what was lost. You can learn, understand, and use it wisely." He nodded slowly, trying to absorb the enormity of her words. He had always thought he was ordinary, a small part of a team. Now he realized he had been chosen for something greater. He had the chance to awaken humanity's lost legacy. He focused on the platform again, letting his mind open further. The images became clearer, more detailed. He saw star maps with systems he had never heard of. He saw planets rich with life, both human and alien. He saw ships capable of traveling faster than light, cities that could float above planets, and machines that seemed alive. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. "All this, humans built." "Yes," Lyra said. "And it is waiting to be remembered. The knowledge is here, but it is not complete. You must piece it together step by step. There are dangers, of course. Those who seek power may still exist, waiting for the signal of awakening. You must be careful." Ethan's stomach tightened. He had already seen glimpses of battle and destruction. The thought that there might still be threats out there made him nervous. But he also felt a deep sense of responsibility. He could not turn away. He had awakened the memory, and now he had to see it through. He reached out to touch the platform again. This time, the symbols responded more strongly. Lines of light spread across the chamber, forming patterns that moved like rivers. Images rose into the air, showing the history of humans across the stars. Ethan watched in awe as events unfolded before him. He saw the first humans leave Earth, exploring nearby planets and moons. He saw them build colonies and ships, learning from every world they visited. He saw them meet other intelligent species, forming alliances, sharing knowledge, and growing together. But then he saw the beginnings of conflict. Some humans became ambitious, seeking to control others. They built powerful ships and weapons, conquering planets and enslaving people. Others resisted, forming secret groups to protect knowledge and freedom. The battles grew larger, spreading across systems. Ethan's mind struggled to take it all in. Lyra floated closer, her glow steady and calm. "It is difficult to see, isn't it?" she said, "but this is the truth. Knowledge and power can be dangerous if not guided wisely. That is why I have waited for you. You have courage, curiosity, and a desire to understand. You can learn from the past and shape the future." Ethan nodded. He felt a strange mixture of fear and determination. He could not deny the responsibility that had been placed on him. He had awakened something incredible, and now he had to learn how to use it. He focused again on the platform, letting the images wash over him. He saw humans traveling to distant galaxies, building cities on moons, exploring planets with strange landscapes and life forms. He saw humans working with aliens, sharing knowledge and technology. He saw the creation of incredible machines, tools that could heal, protect, and build. And then, he saw the final events. The memory core showed the collapse of civilizations. Catastrophic events, wars, and fear had driven humans back to isolation. Knowledge was lost and memory faded. The humans who survived returned to their home planets, hiding what they knew. Earth became a quiet place once again, unaware of the stars humans had reached. Ethan felt a pang of sadness. So much had been lost, and now he had the chance to bring it back. But the responsibility weighed heavily on him. He could not make mistakes. Lyra placed her glowing hand on the edge of the platform. "You are ready for the next step," she said. "The memory core can teach you more, but it requires focus and courage. You must continue to learn to understand the past so that humanity may rise again." Ethan took a deep breath. "I understand," he said. "I will do my best. I want to learn. I want to understand." The chamber pulsed with light as the memory core responded to his words. Symbols glowed brighter, and the images in the air became sharper, clearer. Ethan reached out again, letting the knowledge flow into his mind. He felt a strange energy coursing through him, connecting him to the memories of countless humans across time and space. Hours passed, though Ethan could not tell how long. He absorbed as much as he could, learning about star systems, technologies, languages, and history. His mind ached from the sheer volume of information, but he also felt stronger, more capable. He began to understand the patterns, the connections, the lessons hidden in the memory. Lyra watched silently, guiding him without words. She did not need to speak. Ethan could feel her presence steady and reassuring. She was a teacher, a guardian, and a companion, helping him navigate the vast knowledge of the memory core. Finally, Ethan stepped back from the platform, exhausted but exhilarated. He could feel the core's energy fading slightly as it rested, waiting for him to return. "This is amazing," he said softly. "I can feel it. I can understand. Some of it." Lyra's glow shimmered warmly. "You are learning quickly. But there is more, much more. You must be ready for challenges, for dangers, and for choices. The path ahead is not easy, but it is necessary." Ethan nodded. He felt a deep sense of purpose. He was no longer just a geologist exploring rocks and minerals. He was a part of something far greater. He was connected to humanity's lost history, and he had the chance to bring it back. As he looked around the chamber, he realized that the walls themselves seemed to respond to him. The symbols pulsed gently, the lights danced, and the air vibrated with energy. The cave was alive, not just with memory, but with potential. "You've done well for today," Lyra said. "Rest now. The memory will continue to guide you, but your mind needs time to process. Tomorrow we will go further. You will learn more, and the next stage of awakening will begin." Ethan nodded. He felt tired, but it was a satisfying exhaustion. He had taken the first steps into a story that had been waiting for thousands of years. He had awakened the memory core, seen the lost history of humans, and felt the responsibility of what was to come. As he lay down on the smooth stone floor, Lyra's glow dimmed slightly, hovering nearby like a guardian. Ethan closed his eyes, letting the knowledge settle in his mind. He dreamed of stars, ships, and cities, of humans exploring distant worlds and building a future that had been forgotten. For the first time in his life, he understood the true scale of humanity. It was greater, stronger, and braver than he had ever imagined. Ethan woke slowly, his body stiff from sleeping on the stone floor. The chamber was quiet, but the air hummed softly, a reminder that the memory core was still alive, still waiting for him. Lyra hovered nearby, her glow gentle and calm. "Good morning," she said softly. "Are you ready to continue?" Ethan stretched, still feeling the weight of yesterday's lessons in his mind. "Yes," he said. "I want to learn more. I need to understand everything I can." Lyra nodded. "Very well. Today we begin the next stage. You will not only see the past, you will awaken what was left behind. You will interact with the systems humans built, and the memory will guide you." Ethan swallowed hard. He felt nervous but excited. Yesterday he had seen humans lost history, their cities and their ships, but now he was being asked to step further, to touch and awaken technology that had not worked in thousands of years. He followed Lyra across the chamber, his torch in hand, and approached the central platform. The symbols on the platform pulsed brighter as he drew near. The lights on the walls danced faster, responding to his presence. Ethan placed his hands on the platform, taking a deep breath. He let his mind reach out just as he had done before, and felt the energy of the memory core flow into him. "Good," Lyra said. "Now focus on awakening. Think of what you wish to learn. Think of humanity's past and future. Let your intention guide the systems." Ethan closed his eyes, letting his thoughts become calm and clear. He focused on the memory of humans exploring the stars, building cities, and traveling across worlds. Slowly he felt a shift beneath his hands. The platform trembled slightly and a low hum filled the chamber. Lines of light spread across the floor, connecting to the pillars around them. Suddenly, one of the pillars shone brighter than the others. The top of it split open, revealing a small console. Symbols glowed on its surface, moving as if alive. Ethan's heart pounded. "It's working," he whispered. "Yes," Lyra said. "You are awakening the systems. These were left behind to preserve knowledge. They will respond to humans again, starting with you." Ethan knelt in front of the console, running his fingers over the symbols. The lights responded instantly to his touch, forming images in the air above the platform. He saw ships similar to the ones in yesterday's visions, but now they were real, stored in hidden hangars beneath the cave. He saw machines designed to build, repair, and protect. He saw energy grids that could power entire cities. This is incredible," Ethan said, his voice trembling. "Everything is still here. Hidden, waiting." Lyra's glow pulsed softly. "Yes, but not all of it is safe. Systems that have been dormant for so long may attract attention. Others may notice the activation. You must proceed carefully." Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and fear. He had already glimpsed the power and knowledge humans had once held. Now he realized that activating it could bring dangers as well as discovery. He focused again on the console, tracing patterns with his fingers. Slowly, doors in the walls of the chamber began to open. Ethan stepped toward one of the openings. A hidden hallway stretched into darkness, lined with more consoles and glowing panels. The walls shimmered as if alive, responding to his presence. He felt a thrill of discovery mixed with caution. Each step could be a chance to learn or a trap. Lyra floated beside him. "These halls lead to storage and hangars," she explained. "The ships and machines of the past remain here, waiting. You will see them, but you must be careful. They have not been used in millennia." Ethan's eyes widened. He had dreamed of seeing alien worlds, strange machines, and lost cities, but he had never imagined standing above ships built thousands of years before his time. He stepped forward carefully, the walls glowing faintly in response to his movement. As he reached the first hangar, he gasped. The chamber was enormous, filled with ships of all shapes and sizes. Some were sleek and silver, built for speed. Others were larger, with heavy armor and powerful engines. Machines moved silently on their own, repairing ships and maintaining systems as if waiting for a human to guide them. "They are alive," Ethan whispered, awe in his voice. "Or almost alive," Lyra nodded. "They are programmed to respond to humans. They will not move without guidance. But your presence awakens them. You are the key to their operation." Ethan walked among the ships, touching panels and consoles. Lights blinked in response, and soft hums filled the air. He felt the power in the walls, in the floors, in the machines themselves. The cave was no longer just a place of memory. It was a living archive ready to teach and protect. Suddenly, a warning light flashed on one of the consoles. Ethan's pulse quickened. "What is that?" he asked. Lyra's glow dimmed slightly. "It is a detection system. Others are noticing the activation. You are not alone, Ethan. Some beings may have been waiting as well. You must be careful." Ethan's stomach tightened. He had expected danger, but he had hoped the cave was safe. Now he realized that activating the systems could have consequences he could not control. He had awakened knowledge, but it had sent a signal, one that might reach far beyond Kiros 7. "What do we do?" he asked. "Continue with caution," Lyra said. "You must finish activating the systems before they can respond. But be ready for anything. Others may arrive soon." Ethan nodded, steeling himself. He returned to the first console and focused again, letting his mind guide the systems. Slowly, more doors opened, revealing storage rooms filled with tools, energy sources, and supplies. Machines hummed to life, repairing and organizing themselves. The ships in the hangars blinked with lights, as if waking from a long sleep. Hours passed as Ethan worked. Guided by Lyra, he learned to operate the consoles, to understand the symbols, and to awaken the machines safely. Each step brought new discoveries: hidden energy cores, repair drones, and vessels capable of interstellar travel. He could feel the excitement building inside him. Humanity's lost power was returning if he could master it. But then a distant sound echoed through the hangar. Ethan froze. It was faint at first, a low vibration, but it grew louder. He could hear movement, something approaching. "Lyra, something is coming," he whispered, fear creeping into his voice. Lyra's glow brightened, sharp and alert. "Stay calm. Prepare yourself. They are not human. They have sensed the activation. You must protect yourself in the systems." Ethan's heart pounded. He had expected challenges, but not so soon. He looked around the hangar, searching for something he could use. Panels and tools were scattered across the floor, and ships were ready but unmanned. He realized that the machines could assist him, but he had to act quickly. The sound grew closer. Shadows moved along the walls and shapes appeared in the distance. Ethan could see them now. Figures, humanoid but alien, moving with precision and purpose. They had been watching, waiting for humans to awaken the systems, and now they were here. Lyra hovered close, her glow steady and protective. "You are ready," she said. "Use the systems. Trust yourself. You have the knowledge and the courage. Defend what must be protected." Ethan took a deep breath. He activated one of the smaller ships, its engines humming to life. The vessel responded instantly, moving under his guidance. Repair drones followed his commands, forming a barrier around the hangar. Lights blinked on consoles, activating defensive systems that had lain dormant for millennia. The alien figures entered the hangar, moving cautiously. They paused as the systems reacted, sensing that they were not welcome. Ethan's pulse raced, but he felt a strange confidence. He had learned from the memory core. He had awakened the systems, and now he had the power to defend them. He guided the drones forward, creating a wall of energy and light between him and the intruders. The ship's engines roared softly, adding to the hum of the hangar. The aliens paused, analyzing, unsure how to respond. "You can do this," Lyra said softly. "Trust yourself. Protect the memory. Protect humanity's legacy." Ethan nodded, focusing all his energy. He guided the drones with precision, activating defensive measures and coordinating the ships. The hangar came alive, a symphony of technology responding to a single human. The aliens hesitated, clearly surprised by the activation. Ethan realized then that humanity's past power was not just in ships and machines. It was in knowledge, understanding, and courage. He had awakened that power, and now he could use it to protect what remained. The aliens retreated slightly, unsure how to proceed against the awakened systems. Ethan's confidence grew. He had faced fear, isolation, and uncertainty, and now he stood ready, commanding machines that had waited for a human hand for thousands of years. Lyra's glow brightened, her voice calm and proud. "You are learning well, but this is only the beginning. You must continue to awaken the systems, and you must be ready for what comes next. Danger will come, but you are not alone." Ethan nodded. He felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. He had faced the first threat, and the memory core systems had responded. He had learned that knowledge and courage could be stronger than fear. As the hangar settled into a tense calm, Ethan looked at the ships, the drones, and the glowing consoles. He realized that the journey was far from over. He had awakened humanity's lost power, but now he had to protect it, understand it, and prepare for the challenges that lay ahead. And somewhere in the shadows, beyond the cave and the hangar, he knew that more eyes were watching. Ethan stood in the hangar, surrounded by ships and machines that hummed with life. The air was thick with energy. and the glow from Lyra's form bathed the chamber in soft light. Outside, shadows lingered, hinting at the alien figures who had retreated but were clearly watching. The cave itself seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if aware that something important was about to happen. "Are they going to come back?" Ethan asked quietly, glancing toward the dark openings of the hangar. Lyra floated close, her glow steady and warm. "Yes, they sense the activation and they will return. But you are ready. You have awakened the systems and learned from the memory core. You now have the knowledge and the courage to face them." Ethan nodded, taking a deep breath. He felt the weight of the past and the future pressing on him at the same time. For thousands of years, humans had reached the stars, built incredible cities, and created machines of power. That knowledge had been hidden, waiting for someone like him. And now he had to protect it. He moved to one of the ships, running his hands over the controls. Lights blinked in response, panels sliding open to reveal hidden functions. Ethan had learned from the memory core how to operate the vessels, but using them in a real situation was different. His heart pounded as he powered up the engines. The ship hummed beneath him, almost alive, responding to his touch. "Good," Lyra said. "You have learned quickly. Trust the systems, trust yourself, and trust your instincts. You are not just awakening the past, you are shaping the future." Ethan nodded, gripping the controls. The alien figures had returned, moving cautiously, testing the hangar. Ethan activated the drones and defensive systems. Energy barriers formed, blocking the intruder's path. Lights blinked on panels and the hum of machinery grew louder. The aliens paused, clearly surprised. They had expected to find humans unaware and unprepared. Instead, they were met with systems that had been dormant for thousands of years, now alive and guided by a single human. Ethan felt a surge of confidence. "You can do this," Lyra said softly. "Protect what must be protected. The memory is yours to defend." Ethan focused, coordinating the drones and activating additional ships. Smaller vessels lifted off the ground, moving into defensive positions. Repair drones zipped along the walls, ready to fix any damage. The hangar became a living network of energy, light, and movement, all responding to Ethan's commands. The alien figures advanced slowly, testing the defenses. Ethan guided the drones with precision, using the knowledge he had gained from the memory core. Lights flashed, energy pulses flowed, and the intruders were forced to retreat. They were intelligent, cautious, and persistent, but they had underestimated the human who had awakened the systems. Ethan felt a strange sense of power. Not from weapons, not from strength, but from knowledge and understanding. He had learned from the past, and now he could use it to protect the legacy of humanity. He had become the link between what was lost and what could be reborn. The aliens paused at the edge of the hangar. Ethan could see them clearly now, tall, thin, with gray skin and glowing eyes. Their movements were precise, calculated. They communicated silently, almost telepathically. And he realized they were analyzing him, trying to understand how one human could control such power. "You are ready," Lyra said. "Now show them that humanity is not to be underestimated." Ethan took a deep breath and activated the hangar's main systems. Lights flashed across the walls and the energy barriers expanded. Ships lifted into the air, forming a circle around him. The drones moved in patterns, creating a protective web. The aliens hesitated, clearly unsure how to proceed against such a coordinated defense. He remembered the memory core's lessons, how humans had faced danger, how they had used knowledge and courage to survive and thrive. Ethan realized that he was not just protecting the cave or the machines, he was defending humanity's potential. The alien figures advanced again, but Ethan was ready. He guided the drones forward, using energy pulses to push them back. The ships moved in precise formations, creating barriers and forcing the intruders to retreat. Ethan's mind worked quickly, coordinating movements and activating systems with a calm determination he had not known he possessed. Lyra's glow pulsed brightly, a sign of her approval. "Well done," she said. "You are learning faster than expected, but the challenge is not over. Others may come. You must continue to protect, to learn, and to awaken the systems fully." Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. The first wave of intruders had been stopped, but he knew it was only the beginning. The activation had sent a signal across the stars, and more could come. He had to prepare, not just for defense, but for understanding the full power of what he had awakened. He returned to the central platform, placing his hands on the symbols once again. The lights pulsed in response and images rose into the air. He saw humans building fleets of ships, exploring galaxies, forming alliances with alien species and protecting knowledge. He saw battles and conflicts, but also courage, innovation, and growth. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. "I can see it, all of it. And I can use it." "Yes," Lyra said. "You are the bridge. You can bring the memory into the present, awaken what was lost, and guide humanity forward. But you must act wisely. Knowledge without wisdom can be dangerous." Ethan nodded. He focused on the images, learning more, understanding patterns, and absorbing lessons from the past. He realized that the systems in the cave were not just machines. They were tools, guides, and teachers. They had been built to preserve knowledge, and now he could use them to protect and rebuild humanity's lost legacy. Outside, the alien figures hesitated. They could sense the power of the activated systems, the intelligence guiding them, and they did not advance further. Ethan realized that his courage and understanding were as important as the technology itself. He was not just controlling machines. He was directing history, shaping what could happen next. He guided the drones and ships with precision, creating a protective perimeter around the hangar. The energy barriers pulsed in rhythm with the platforms, and the cave seemed to respond to his presence. It was as if the entire system had recognized him as its human link, its guardian. "You have done well," Lyra said. "But now you must awaken the final stage. The memory core is ready to release its full knowledge, its full history, and its full power. You must be ready to accept it." Ethan took a deep breath. He placed his hands on the central platform, closing his eyes. He let the energy flow into him, opening his mind completely to the memory core. Images, sounds, and knowledge flooded his senses. He saw humans traveling faster than light, building cities on distant worlds, communicating with countless alien species. He saw their triumphs, their mistakes, and their courage. It was overwhelming, but he did not panic. He focused, letting the lessons of the past guide him. He felt himself connected to every human who had ever lived, every explorer, every builder, every thinker. The memory core had trusted him, and now he understood why. As the knowledge settled in his mind, he felt a new sense of clarity. The systems around him responded instantly, ships lifting into the air, drones moving with purpose, energy barriers forming perfectly. He could see patterns, predict movements, and understand the best way to protect the cave and its secrets. The alien figures paused outside the hangar, realizing that they were facing not just machines, but a human who had awakened the full power of knowledge. Ethan felt a surge of courage. He had learned from the past, he had defended the present, and now he was ready to shape the future. "You are ready," Lyra said. "The memory is fully awake. The systems respond to you completely. Humanity's legacy is no longer lost. It is in your hands." Ethan nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility, but he also felt hope. He had faced fear, isolation, and danger, and he had prevailed. The cave, the memory core, and the machines were now his allies. Humanity's lost history had been awakened, and the future was open. He looked at the ships, the drones, and the glowing consoles. Each one pulsed with life, ready to serve, to protect, and to teach. He realized that the journey was far from over, but he was no longer alone. He had Lyra, he had knowledge, and he had courage. The alien figures retreated, sensing that the human before them was no ordinary explorer. Ethan watched them disappear into the shadows, knowing that others might come, but confident in his ability to face them. Humanity's power, intelligence, and courage had been forgotten for too long, but now it was awakening again. Ethan took a deep breath, letting the energy of the cave and the memory core fill him. He had awakened what had been lost. He had defended it, and he was ready to guide humanity into a future that had been waiting for thousands of years. Lyra floated beside him, her glow bright and steady. "You have done what few could do. You have awakened the memory, defended it, and understood it. The next step is yours. Humanity's story continues because of you." Ethan smiled, feeling a mix of pride, awe, and determination. He had started this journey alone, trapped in a cave on an unknown world. Now he was the guardian of humanity's lost legacy, the one who could awaken the stars once again. He looked at the hangar, the ships, the glowing platforms, and the walls alive with memory. The cave was no longer just a place of history. It was a living testament to what humans could achieve. And Ethan knew that he was ready to tell.